Just waiting. All right. So following up on yesterday's call, we all created a variance report, and some of us are reporting that that report is showing no content, as we can see here. So why is that? Okay, let's check our settings. To check our settings of our template, you may know already, but we click the pencil button. We're running this for one account. Transaction type is end of day. That's appropriate because we have a prior day statement. Presentation, right now we're showing variances only, but we're not asking the system to or the report to show us any variance. So that's the inherent conflict, right? Show us a variance, but also don't show a variance. So let's turn this one off. And the variance we want to focus in on is the difference between the bank ledger, which if you recall, is the line that integrates into the bank module. Let's open this up real quick. We want to see the bank ledger balance because this is the one that says, okay, we got the file and it integrated, as opposed to this one, which just says, hey, we got the file, might not have integrated. So we want to see the difference between this row and this row. That's standard practice. So we turn on bank ledger and flow ledger. Period looks good. Weekdays, fine. Good, 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 good. Save it. Save it to overwrite the settings of this template. If you want to just do a one-time tweak but not save the settings, you could just click go. But we're saving first because we know this is going to work. And now we run it. And here's your report. So what are we seeing? On the 12th, our bank ledger balance was 0. Our flow minus bank is 15,948. We're missing one other thing here. There's one other checkbox we want to turn on, so let's just do that as well, because as you can see here, we had 4 rows. And on this report, we're only showing 3 rows. So we're missing the one that goes between bank ledger and flow minus bank ledger. We just want to see the flow balance. So let's turn that on as well. Presentation is where you update, obviously, your presentation. And we want to say show the flow ledger balance. Okay, so this is pretty standard, these 3. I recommend everyone updates their reports accordingly. Run this now. Now we could see this looks just like the one that we were looking at yesterday. Again, what is this telling us? Oh, what is this telling us? Bank statement balance, it has a dash. This is because the bank statement never went to the hub, right? Remember, this is where the Kyriba grabs the raw data from the hub, places it here. Let's look at our presentation again really quickly. So when a file is FTP'd, right, or is sent automatically, Kyriba ingests it here first, and then we'll send the balance to this report to populate up here. Why didn't it populate for us? Did we FTP these bank statements? No, we bypassed that. We just dropped them right into the application to go through the integration process. So when you manually drop a file, you're not going to see this line populate. Instead, we should just see this populate. So the final balance as reported on the bank statement was 0. However, there was $15,000, 15,948 of disbursements total. So really, Kyriba said, okay, at the end of the day, you should have been overdrawn by 15K, and your bank statement wasn't reflecting that. So something was wrong. And we'll talk about how to fix this to make sure that the Kyriba is calculating the balance correctly. We'll focus on that a little bit later today. Questions?
Sorry, Josh and I are in the same room, so. But when I set mine up, I made it private.
Mhm.
And I was trying to change it so that to make it
Yeah.
public, but it makes it look like I'm like starting a new one
Yeah.
whenever I do that.
Great question, Olivia. It's kind of hidden. So we want to update a report, and a report is basically a template, right? Everything in Kyriba is a template. So we can search template here, but even that is kind of confusing. We want to go to setup templates, report and process template. So maybe if we searched report, maybe that would have given us better results. Still kind of a lot. So let's walk through the path. Core data, setup, templates, report and process template. So this section in Kyriba is all the templates you've created, including reports. I'm going to click view all because we have more than 200. Do you remember what yours was called, Olivia?
My like balance variance or my bank account.
It was this one, wasn't it? The OSN.
Yes, that's it.
So we could see it's private across the board, right?
Yeah.
So now we can double click in. And now we have these settings to update, so we can make it public.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
So report.
Let's talk a minute about what these settings actually represent, because we skipped it a few times, but it's early in the morning, so let's take on some new information while we're feeling fresh. These are 3 different levels of security that you can build around your template. So when everything's public, anyone can go in and alter the template. So I could just overwrite the settings here and say, sorry, Olivia, now I want this to run for Aaron's account, and just save it. And then you'll probably find out when you run your variance and you say, wait a minute, that's not my account. So if it's public, it's full domain, anyone can do whatever they want to the template. Okay. But we can start limiting access and authority through these screens, through these options. So let's talk about the lowest level of access, can launch only. So if we made this public and everything else was private, this means, oh, I can see your template, Olivia, but I can't edit it. I can't even look at how it's set up. I can only simply click it to launch the report. So this is the lowest level of access. Kind of wish it were at the bottom, so this would like move up, but instead it's in the middle. So lowest level is can launch, right? Kick the report off, fine. The next level of access is can use. That means I can go into your template. I can see exactly how you set this up, and I can make a one-time update. So I can change this to maybe the beginning of the year and run it, but I can't save this change. So I can use the template, I can modify the parameters, but I can't overwrite the parameters. That's can use. What do you think can administer is?
Can change it and save it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Can administer, you're an administrator over that template. I can go in and I can change it and I can save the changes. So highest level of access, second level, lowest level. Is that clear? Perfect. So if a client had a report that only 1 or 2 people would want to ever use and see, you can leverage those administration options to lock it down from the whole population of users. Awesome. All right, so today we're going to talk about the cache module. And we're going to look at, in the next like hour or so, the most used tool in all of Kyriba. So we'll dive into the cache position worksheet, talk a little bit about cache reports, and then probably take a break. Any questions before we dive into more new material? Okay. Fantastic. So let's go back to this presentation real quick. So we talked about banks sending bank statements to the hub checking for statement ID, kicking back statement IDs that don't match, integrating the statements that did match the statement ID, and then either integrating the transactions or rejecting the transactions. I hope by now this piece is abundantly clear, and what I just said sounded extremely repetitive. Good. Repetition is key. So now we're going to talk about this last piece, where the bank module pushes certain transactions into the cash module. Okay, so what is the cash module? The cash module is where we build our balance. It is when we look at the variance report and it said that flow ledger balance, that is calculated via cash, not via the bank statement module. Okay, so we build our balance in the cash module. Additionally, we add all our forecasts in the cash module. So the cash module has our actuals, and actuals are our prior day transactions, right? Everything that came off that intraday, that end of day statement that we put in, that's considered an actual. So the cash module houses all our actuals. It houses all our intraday transactions. So anything that happened that day that came on a current day bank statement. And then it also houses our forecasts. So you can see what has happened, what is happening, and what we think will happen. Okay. You might ask, like, okay, why don't we just do it all in the bank module? The bank module is supposed to be an auditable repository of all the statements that came directly from the bank. We don't play around in the bank module. We don't add forecasts. We don't add, like, we think this is going to happen. This is just what happened in a lockdown, centralized space. And then the bank module feeds the relevant data to the cash module where our treasurers work. Does that make sense? Now, we've established that the cash module is a balance builder. How does it know what balance to build? How does it know which transactions to include and which transactions to exclude to build the balance correctly? We've talked about this concept of balance building a few times, right? We talked about exclude summaries, include transactions, right? But what is the process that helps sift through the summaries and exclude them and only include the transactions in the cash module? That process is called automatic reconciliation. Okay. Yesterday, we talked about, let's update this to be yesterday. Oh, by the way, if you want to do like -1D for -1 day, you could do that and it plugs in -1 day. Nice little trick. We talked about yesterday the two different statuses, reconciled and neutralized. So we're going back to this vocabulary. So let's just make sure we're clear on what each means. What's the difference between these two?
Reconciled, you count. And neutralized, you don't.
Good. That's it. Neutralized are summaries, right? We can see it right here. Reconciled are transactions that we count. Is that clear? So the process of automatic reconciliation helps us capture. It's the process that captures the transactions that are reconciled and suppresses the transactions that should be neutralized. So it's think of it as like a broom that's sweeping the good transactions into the cash module and pushing away the summaries from our calculated balance. Okay. Remember, in Kyriba, we always need some kind of process to push things along. from module to module. So from bank to hub, we have a connectivity line. From hub to the bank statement module, we have this auto integration process that we looked at yesterday. And now from the bank module to the cash module, we have this auto reconciliation process. So we just need to understand the mechanisms that move our data from source to source. Auto rec is not complicated. It runs automatically, hence auto. And all we say is just look at all our transactions for all our accounts from a period of time. You can back this up. I prefer to back this up, actually. It doesn't really matter, though. Moot point, doesn't matter. And then what type of statements? Consider end of day, consider intraday, just pretty much analyze all our transactions is what we're asking the system to do, and push the good ones into the cash module. Okay. This runs automatically. So when bank transactions come into the bank module, within minutes, the good ones are filtered into the cash module. The summaries are kept just in the bank module. Okay, so this is just, again, the broom, the vehicle that pushes transactions into the cash module. How do we get this thing to run automatically? Does anyone remember we had to talk about one key button? Actually, maybe even for auto rec, you might not even need it. Let me check my source material real quick. Maybe I'm overstating it. Okay, never mind. I was thinking we had to check this box on, but actually auto rec, as long as your template is named auto rec, the system knows to process this job automatically. It's another instance where the code actually matters. We saw the same thing with auto integ. System knows if it's called auto integ, it automatically integrates the file. If this process is called auto rec, it automatically runs this reconciliation upon any bank statement hitting the bank module.
So does that work throughout Kyriba? Like if I did auto variance, would it automatically run my bank variance?
No, there's only 3 template names that actually the system will actually key off of. It's auto integ for bank statement prior days, auto intra for bank statement current days, and auto rec for automatic reconciliation. Everything else, the system doesn't care what you name it. Okay. Okay, so now the system used some kind of logic, and we'll talk about that logic a little bit later, to figure out which transactions to bring in, which transactions to exclude. We set up some of that logic in the bank module. You remember at the BTC level, we said, hey, 100 is a summary, so always neutralize it, never count it. There's additional layers of filtering that we can introduce, but we'll get to that later. For now, as long as we understand that auto rec is the bridge between bank and cash, we're golden. So now, welcome aboard, we're in the cash module. Cash module is far more robust. If we look at what the bank module offered, you had like 5 screens here, and then some automatic jobs and export jobs over here. And then of course, a pretty brief setup. Cache module, we have a lot more that we can do. You see there's a lot of processes, a lot of inquiries, and a lot of setup. Okay, so there's a lot to learn here. Let's take it slow and go through the core pieces to make sure we understand what we're trying to achieve in cache. So, lay of the land, first and foremost, we have 5 drop downs at the top of our screen. Add should be relatively self-explanatory. If we want to include a forecast in our cache position, we would select something like add a cash flow. we'd say this is an estimated forecast. I think we're going to wire maybe in a week some kind of payroll payment. Exactly what it is because we have some new hires, but we're estimating it's $1 million for our payroll account. Okay, so this is one thing we could do in the system. We can add forecasts manually. And then you can also update your daily balance. So remember, all our accounts have variances right now. We want to fix those variances so we can plug in the correct balance for that account. We'll go through a couple use cases of add later. Maintain. Maintain is a very important dropdown throughout Kyriba. So if you want to see the data that you've added, we'd go to maintain. So if I added this forecast today, and then if I go back to add cash flow, I'm not going to be able to see it anymore. Right, it's gone. So how do I find it? I would go to maintain cash flow, and then I'd have a query, a template, right? That's going to allow me to see the cash flows that I created today. Let's see if this one works. There it is. Okay, so add sounds like what it is to add new things. Maintain sort of sounds like what it is to observe the data that's already there. So this is where you can do ad hoc searches. You can have pre-saved searches such as show me all my wires from the last 30 days, all my ACH payments, so on and so forth. A lot of reporting can be done, or a lot of like quick searches can be done via the screen. Process. This is where a lot of heavy lifting happens in Kyriba. So this is where if you have an ERP that's sending you forecasts, so like all your upcoming receivables and payables, all that data can be sent to Kyriba via an automated process. Why would that be useful? To know what your receivables and payables are? For the next month? Why would we care?
Helps with forecasting.
Exactly. Yeah. If someone says, how much cash do we think we'll have in a month? Well, you need to know what's going to happen between now and then, right? How do you do that? You take in your data that is relatively confirmed, right? We're going to pay this much. We're going to receive this much. So that's why we'd bring in that data in mass. So lots of other things that we'll do here. Autorec sits here. Okay, so if we ever have to find that template, it's under process autorec. Anything that is moving data or manipulating data is a process. Inquire. This is where all the this is like where the moneymaker of the cash module sits. So all your worksheets, all your detailed inquiry, graphs, everything sits under Inquire. And then setup, like we saw in the bank module, setup is how you stand up this module, how you configure it to work. Okay. So a lot to cover here. We won't touch on every single setup item, every single process, every single inquiry, but just to understand where things sit. So if I said run a batch modification, you could say, okay, that's a job. That's a thing that's manipulating data. Therefore, that would be process batch mod. Okay. Questions? Straightforward so far? Okay. Let's start by adding a few cash flows. So let's just start, if we all want to go in to add cash flow. Let's go in and select first and foremost our account. So everyone has the account that we ran the variance report for. So let's select that first. Now, when we ran that variance report, we all had a variance, right? We all had a variance of 15,000. There could be a lot of reasons we had this variance. Could be that, but let's just focus on one. The main reason could be that on the 11th, we actually had $15,948 in our account, but we just didn't have data from the 11th. So then when the 12th happened, we cleared all that money out of our account. We ended at 0. But because Kyriba didn't know where we started, right? It didn't know we had this money in our account the prior day. So Kyriba just said, all right, you started at 0 and now you're minus 15K. That's often the reason, especially during an implementation, there's a variance. Because Kyriba doesn't often know, there's a way to automate it, but it's a little clunky. Kyriba doesn't often know what you started with for a given account, right? You start using Kyriba, it's going to assume you're at 0. So if you have 15K in your account, we need to tell it. So let's tell the system, hey, on the 11th, we actually started with this amount. And then on the 12th, we went down to 0. And that will clear out our variance. So let's pick our account. In fact, anyone want to share? I'll let somebody drive here. Go ahead,
I'll do it.
Josh. All right,
Oh.
Go ahead, Kaylee.
Okay. Can we see?
Great. All right. So flow code. When we're initializing a balance, when we're telling the system how much money we had in the system when we started reporting, we usually use the same flow code, and that is called balance initialization. So you can just X out and type in BAL. Yep. Very good. So this is telling the system, hey, this is how much money we had prior to our first day of reporting. Anyone want to guess why balance initialization is not signed, doesn't have a plus or minus? Whereas most flows do?
Because it's almost like a summary. It's just like a number that's there. You're not adding or subtracting it.
We are going to add it actually, because we need to know we started there. That's our starting point. And then everything that happens thereafter, we're going to add or subtract. So rather than starting at 0, we're going to tell the system, hey, add 0 plus the number we're about to plug in. Balanced initialization could be bidirectional. You could start overdrawn. You could start with negative $100 in your balance. So the way this flow code is set up, it's just allowing us to plug in a value in either a negative value or a positive value. It's not necessarily always plus or minus. Typically, you should have money in your account. You shouldn't be overdrawn, but some clients do have accounts that are negative, sometimes deliberately so. So that's why this flow code is kind of unique. It works both ways. Okay. Budget code. Do we need a extra categorization for our starting balance? Probably not, right? Because this isn't like one transaction that occurred. This is where we started on day 1, right? Okay, good. Then we have our flow statuses. So what do you think we should call this?
Actual?
Absolutely, right? Because this is actual funds in our account. This isn't a forecast of what we will have. This is what we did have prior to starting reporting. Okay? What should our dates be?
The day before the variance report?
The day before we got our first file. So we got the first file for the 12th, therefore, great. And once you click, everything else will update accordingly. Very good. Now we have our cash flow amount. So what is the amount that we need to initialize? $15,948.93.
Oops.
Very good. There are a bunch of other fields, all of which are optional and seldom used. Number would be like if you had a batch of checks that you were capturing, you could say within that batch there were 90 checks. We don't need to plug that in. Fee, interest, commission, FX would all be auto-populated for very specific uses. We don't need to get into those right now. And then account amount is if there's any conversion or translation of the flow amount into your account amount, into your account currency. So your account, if you scroll up for 1 second, what currency is this denominated in?
USD.
Yep, and how do we know that? Really easily, if you scroll all the way up. Oh, well, typically we would put USD in the account name. That's one of the reasons that like we
Oh,
include the currency, right? Standard
Mhm.
structure, it's okay, but just for the future, it should be three characters from the company, 3 characters from the bank, 3 characters of your currency, and then your last 3 digits of your account number. So we could look at this and say, okay, this is a USD account. Let's just show what would happen if this amount was in pounds, the flow amount. You could just, I would start getting used to just typing over writing. It's just so much quicker.
okay.
GBP.
Okay.
And just click and then scroll down. See account amount now?
Yep.
So the account amount is always going to translate back into your account's currency. So if you are getting amounts that fall outside of your account currency, you'll see a difference between flow amount and account amount. Let's change that back to USD. The variance report will run based on the account amount, not the flow amount. So if we kept GBP, we'd still have a variance. Okay. Description. It's good practice to include a description. You can call it balance initialization and you put your initials or something like that. Okay. And then reference would be usually the bank reference. Usually if it's a check, the check number. Otherwise, it's usually just like a string of random characters. You can leave it blank. You could do test reference. We don't usually fill in the reference, but that's just extra information for reporting. Afterwards, we're going to click Save. Perfect. Now, let's say I want to see all the balance initializations that occurred today. How am I going to do that?
Maintain.
Someone else want to take the screen and walk us through that?
I can do it.
Let's do it.
Maintain cash flow.
Correct? Let's add a new one.
Add a new one.
Yes.
Okay. What should we call it?
Dealer's choice.
Let's see. Oh. Do we need a description? New cash flow.
And we're only looking for balance initialization. So you not just any new cash flow, but just the balance ones. So let's specify that.
I actually had a question going back to the currencies on cash flows. So what if a company was global and they were projecting all their cash flows in and switch currencies and there was like an arbitrage opportunity that they would make or lose money on their accounts? How would you balance that out?
Sorry, say that one more time.
So if you have like a global company and they're all sending their cash flows into like headquarters, so it's in one currency, isn't there going to be triangle arbitrage opportunities where they're going to lose or make money on their accounts that would throw off their balancing?
So like improper hedging. So if you're a global company, you're going to have accounts denominated in a variety of currencies, right? You're not always translating back to USD. I mean, that could be like your functional currency for your whole company. But a company should, if a company is global, they should have accounts in GBP, JPY,
Okay.
Euro. So Kyriba, each of those accounts, Kyriba is going to say this is your holdings of your account currency.
So there won't be
And
that
then
many
we can,
conversions.
pardon?
So there wouldn't be that many conversions for that to like run into.
I'm trying to think about what that means.
But the company itself wouldn't be converting currencies that many times that they'd run into that error of throwing off their budgets.
Yeah, so what a client like that would typically do is they would have some kind of report. First of all, they'd bring in FX rates from a
Mhm.
rate provider like Bloomberg. And then they'd say, okay, we're going to translate all of our cash into our functional currency. And then see what our global picture is at like a given moment of time. A lot of companies also, so that's like one way of just getting a uniform report. This is how much cash we have approximately in one currency. If a client has a lot of is managing a lot of currencies and has a lot of different business units globally, they'll often institute corporate netting program where they'll say, okay, this is like the center company, the netting center. So we're going to take in all the payables and receivables and all these different currencies and just say company A owes company B this net amount in this like mutually beneficial currency. So there's a lot of ways that you can like offset FX risk and kind of just like standardize operations globally when you're managing lots of currencies, but they're definitely out of the purview of what we're going to be doing here.
Okay.
But yeah, if there is an arbitrage opportunity, that will be done at the local level, and Kyriba won't prevent it. It would just be done at the local level with the with local accounts and the respective currencies. Okay, so new balance flows last 24 hours. Let's make this public so all our friends can use it. Cool. All right. Don't need to run it automatically. We're not integrating a file. We're just searching in the system.
Okay.
So now what? You don't have to select that. It already knows what module we're in and what screen we're in. So how do we set this? Yep, exactly. Very good.
Go setup.
Mm-hmm. Click close. Click setup again.
Here we go.
There you go. All right. Can you talk us through how you'd set this up?
Yeah, I go period, start, start date.
Why would we go -1?
Because last day.
Typically, we don't do things on an hourly basis. We just do it on a calendar day basis. There's no way of saying 24 hours. So usually it would just be like today, or yesterday and today, something like that. So I would just revise the name of this to say create it today.
Okay.
Or you could say create the last 2 days, something like that.
So I would do 0 if we're doing just today.
Correct.
Okay.
Now, just to be clear here in the period tab, see how there's a second date selection that you can activate? Can anyone think of a use case for that?
Maybe if you want like accounting versus value dates.
Well, you would get both. So it's not necessarily versus. It's like an and. So right now we're saying, show me flows updated on the 19th. But we could also say, let's say we updated 5,000 flows today. We could say, show me flows updated today and that have a transaction date of any period in January, as opposed to the ones that are also forecast for February, March, and April. Okay. So that allows you to narrow your search in two ways based on date, as opposed to just one. We don't need to do it, but just want to be clear that that's available. Does that make
Okay.
sense? That use case makes
Yeah.
sense? Okay. Cool.
Future.
So hold on. What nature? We had some options there. What should we choose, team?
Actuals.
Yes. We don't care about anything else.
So all flow codes, right?
Is it? What is the purpose of this template?
New balance flow.
When you click single, that bottom one lights up. If you click multiple, you would have to use the box in the middle. It's fine. Singles, perfect. Good. Do we care about budget code here?
No.
Nope. Good. Range. Do we want to filter on range? No, it could be any balance, right? We want to see any balance. Also note in the range, unlike the bank module, you have a little search in the description option now. So let's say we want to search for any invoice that or any payment that said the word Clearsulting. You can actually build a template that's called payments involving Clearsulting, and then you can add a filter that says if the description says Clearsulting, then show it. Right.
So if we want to do that, would I just put like Clearsulting right here?
That's it.
That'd be
Yep.
it. Okay. With decimals.
What do you think?
Yeah.
Yep. GL status for now, no filtering on status. That's very important when we use cash accounting. But if you don't know, rule of thumb, if you don't know what it means, just say no filtering or check everything.
Okay.
That's perfect. Very good. Save it all the way through. Anyone remember what this means? Can you show that? Yeah, very good. So what was the error?
At least one entity is required.
Okay, so what tab should we go on? Sort of a trick question. You're right. It's on, we should go to the entities tab, right? It says at least one entity is required. What entity did we choose?
Balance flows.
Entity. Flow is not an entity. An entity is like a company, an account, bank.
Just say it. You talk about.
Should it be all accounts?
Yes, exactly. See how we said show account, select by account, and then we didn't choose any account? See at the very bottom, you have an option to say show all accounts.
Oh.
Yep, there you go.
Right.
Very good. As I've said to a few of you recently, errors are good. Helps us learn. Cool, great. Okay, so let's run it.
Here we go.
Just so you know. Perfect, very good. Although somebody had a very aggressive.
Yeah, that was me.
Okay, what did you do? Did you do?
I don't know, but I did change the beginning balance to match this.
You just want to be rich.
Yeah, you know me.
All right. Yeah, let's leave it. That's good. Very nice. So Now we see how to create a template in the cache module to search for a targeted set of variables, right? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can you go back to the maintain screen for 1 minute? Maintain cache flow. Perfect. Just so you know, these templates are alphabetically organized by their code name. So you see all the way at the right for each, see how it says accounting, advanced forecast. So it goes A, B, C.
Mm-hmm.
If you wanted to quickly flip that, you could right click
Right click what?
anywhere. Sorry, a little bit down. You have to just be in the text. Yep. And say sort by description. And it alphabetizes by the description. You also have the filter button up top. So if you wanted to say like New Balance or something like that, it would show you just the one that you're looking for. As
Mhm.
clients get bigger, as their operations scale in Kyriba and they bring on more and more users, sometimes the templates get a little overwhelming. So that's why it's important to know how to filter, to know how to search, organize, and also to leverage the private and public features so that a user doesn't come in here and has 250 templates, which is not a very good user experience, right?
Right.
Okay. Awesome. Questions? This is pretty straightforward so far. All right. Thank you very much, Michael. Good stuff.
Welcome.
Okay, so I want to rerun those variance reports, but now I don't want to run 4 reports every time. That's just don't have the time to do that. I would love to have some kind of saved view where it just had all your accounts that we care about. So how can we do that? And then how can we set up a variance report to just run on the 4 accounts that we're targeting? Well, there is a way. We can go to core data, setup, entities and accounts, account group. An account group does what? It groups accounts together. Easy enough. I'm going to click add. What should we call this team? With the whole college motif here. Cool. Class of January 2022 bootcamp. All right, awesome. So now I'm going to go to account list and I'm going to tell Kyriba what bank accounts are going to be in this group. Make sense? Account list. Click this little select button. All right, so whose accounts are we adding here? Can you guys tell me which account is which? Is this yours, Kaylee? Right at the top?
It was bank 1. Yeah, branch A account. Yep, that's
Okay.
it.
Michael, which one's yours?
Mine was it was code MEB JPM. Yeah, US.
Great. Okay. Josh, Olivia, which one?
Mine should be the JF JPM demo account above you, 2 more.
This one?
Yep.
And Olivia?
OSN, if you see, yeah, demo 1, the first one.
Cool. When you set up an account group, you always have to select a pooling account. This serves a very specific purpose for a very specific feature in Kyriba. Ordinarily, if you're just setting up a group just to group your accounts together for reporting, ordinarily this doesn't drive anything. So we just plug one of our 4 accounts in here. Took Kaylee's because she's at the top. If you don't plug something in here, you won't be able to save it. So now I'm going to click save. And now I would love if somebody else wanted to take the screen and run a variance report for our entire account group and show us the results. Josh or Olivia, you want to take a stab at it? One of you guys got to get off mute though.
I'll take it.
All right, cool. Where are you all based? Are you both Cleveland?
Yeah, we're both in the same room.
Nice. That office is pretty great.
So do we need to make a new variance report for all the accounts then?
I would. So hold on one second. You can click cancel. You're getting attacked by a cat there, Michael. That's really cool. What's your cat's name?
So cute.
Her name's Nala.
Nala. Cool.
Yeah, she's a kitty.
Yeah, see that. Very cool. Okay, so Josh, you set up a variance report and you have pretty much the parameters you want on it, right? Like we set it up perfectly.
Yeah.
So rather than starting from scratch each time, we can actually copy those settings and then just like tweak it and rename it. So you see the button all the way to the right? Yep, that's copy. So
Okay.
let's name this something that we like.
You name it.
To variance, yeah. That's good.
Do we need to change any setup accounts? Or should we
Do
be good? Do we need
What are
all
we,
accounts?
what are we hoping to do here?
Run all the group accounts?
Yes, so what should we filter on?
Account group?
Bingo.
And then it's do I need to change the date at all, or is it just for today?
So what is that asking you right there, that date?
Excluding accounts closed before?
Yeah. So if you had an account closed on the 18th, it wouldn't show up in this report.
Okay.
Do we have any closed accounts in that group?
Mhm.
No, so it's kind of irrelevant for this. Good to know that it exists, but it's irrelevant for this query.
End of the day. Those are good. Periods should be good. Yellow. Yep. So it should be good. Where'd it go?
There's also that little star to the left of each description. Sometimes, oh, that's weird. That's never good. Can you run it again? We're in a demo environment, so sometimes Kyriba will like break things deliberately in their demo environment.
Yeah, we got it.
Interesting. Can you go into the report?
Like the Excel sheet or like what we just built
The
out?
parameters, yeah. Can you click on the pencil?
If you go to-
Can
do you have to put any-
you save it again and click go right from here?
Same
Let's try
thing.
one more thing. Let's go into the report setup. Can you click select in the center? Click refresh on the top right. Click approve.
Okay.
Try saving it and then click and go.
No.
Wow, it does not like your report. Can you edit your demo one and just change it to
This
that?
one?
Yeah, actually run it real quick. Just click go. Let's see if it gives you a red light.
No.
Green light. All right, let's change the settings right there. Wow. We broke it. I wonder, what's the problem with our little account group here? I need that account group to work, so let me see one thing real quick, guys. You broke it, Josh.
I know, I break things.
Let's see if it doesn't like that little. No. Wow, that's unfortunate. Just trying to see if I can use the account group elsewhere. Works there. So strange. Just does not like this account group. Let me try one more thing, guys. I wonder if it's that specific report that just can't handle it right now for some reason. Or if it's, yeah, it's just that report. Works here. Unbelievable. Yep. All right. Let's pivot. Account group failed. We're in the middle of a high stakes demo with a prospect. So what do? Can't use account group, but we still want to report for all those 4 accounts. What can we do to pivot to get the results we need?
Select multiple accounts and then add them by name one by one.
Yep, let's do it. Let's do it and save that report and then run it. You want to pick, Josh, you want to pick back up where you left off?
So what am I doing? We run them individually?
We'll go ahead, go into the template and let's talk through it as a team.
So we're just doing like this for the 4 accounts just individually?
Yep. So, sorry, open up that report again.
Like the one I was just in?
So as opposed to running it 4 different times, just add all 4
them all
accounts.
in.
Exactly.
Okay, so the use is OSI.
Show, oh, because you're in, oh, wait, it should show.
OSN, right?
Yeah,
Is it in that code, not the description?
try the code or anything.
Which
Yeah.
one? One?
Demo 1. Demo where?
Didn't go into the box.
I think you should, yeah.
My code is MEB JPM. Yeah,
This-
Clearsulting US. Yep.
There's just like,
And then my code is KJ. And it should be branch A. Yeah, branch A.
They all just went away.
So when you, sorry, did you lose it?
Yeah, they all went away.
So click select is a little finicky. Select, pick the one you want. Click apply, select the one, then click reset on the top right. And then pick the next one, same path.
Then just apply. Or
Reset, yep. Oh, don't X out, don't X out.
oh, great.
All right, you're gonna have these codes memorized though, it's all good.
Okay, now what?
So you hit reset once more. Scroll down just a hair. Like to the right. Oh, like you gotta move your cursor a little bit. There you go. Approve. Save. Perfect. Let's run this thing.
Nope.
Oh my goodness. What is going on with this report? Is everyone able to run an individual report? Someone's account is
I have a feeling it might be my account because I got such different variants. Let's try and take mine out and then run it.
This is a good use case. Can you click select, please? And at the bottom, scroll down again, like, yep. See, show selected rows. Exclude Michael's. Click approve. Just click go. See if it works.
We're blue.
Oh, might be already.
Michael, what happened? So see that? Don't click that. Don't click that. That would be stop. Like that's like a stop button. Click
Oh, yeah.
refresh. There you go, Michael. You were the culprit. All right.
My bad,
Good
guys.
teamwork. So why yours though, Michael? Do you know?
I don't.
Does him?
You want me to show you my variance report?
Are you able to run it just for your account?
The variance report?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's take a look real quick together, and then we'll move on. We got to also analyze these variance results.
Sorry, this is kind of tough to read.
It's okay. All right, so you did get a report, but for some reason it just doesn't like your account very much. Awfully rude of the system. Let me see. This is your USD account, right?
Yeah.
It looks fine. So that internal error just means something is glitching. Not sure what. What I would do is I would just recommend resaving it.
Okay. Back. Okay, resaved it. Go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is very, very bizarre. I actually don't know why the system is not able to handle it. All right. Something new, I'll take that one offline and see if I can figure it out. Something broke along the way. Not very common in a production environment. Unfortunately, a bit more common in a test environment. Okay, can we go back to the report that I think Josh, you ran it? And let's talk about the results. Hmm. Can you run it once more for the 11th? Taking out Michael's.
Oh, did I not take it out?
The red produces like a visceral reaction of disgust when you see the red, right? It's just like so horrible.
Just hurts.
It does, it stings. Okay. Trying to analyze this really quickly. Okay, so we told the system on the 11th we started at 15,948, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then on the 12th, oh, I know. I was working on something and then I got distracted. I was gotta rerun auto rec. Run that one more time for me. Just kick it off. Yep. Sorry, I pulled all your bank transactions out for a minute to fix something for our next lesson. And then I got hung up on that account group. Okay, cool.
Why did your account get? What happened
All
here?
right. Yeah, that's a good question. So we got Josh's account started at 15, same with Kaylee's, right, on the 11th. And then we saw that the system calculated, we'll see. The system calculated that you were at 0. Right? Let's just focus on rows 8 and 9 for a minute. On the 12th, we saw that you had $15,000, 948, 15,948 spot 93 of disbursements. So the bank said you're at 0. The system said we agree you're at 0. Therefore, no variance. So that's perfect, right? We solved. Sorry, this is a very circuitous route, but we solved for the variance for 2 accounts. Now, Olivia, you look very concerned about your account since it looks like you're not managing your cash very well. You went from 15K to almost $500,000 in debt, which is impressive. But let's figure out why that happened. Do you want to take the screen, Olivia, and maybe let's search to see what happened?
You want to talk to yours or mine?
I can talk to mine.
Okay.
Okay. I was talking about.
Okay. First, let's make sure that that your balance initialization was correct. So
Do you want me to go to my Excel sheet?
let's go to the template we set up earlier, just where we saw all the ways we initialized our balances, and just check that everything looks good for your account.
Right, so I go to cash management.
Mm-hmm.
Cash flow. Right?
Yep.
Mm,
Okay. So here's yours. Anything look wrong? No, everything looks pretty good. Okay, so from what we can see, everything looks fine for your account on the 11th. Now, if we look back at your report, I'm going to take the screen for just 1 second.
Okay.
That jives with what the report's telling us. On the 11th, you're consistent with your colleagues, right? We have 15,948 as an opening balance on the 11th. And then the bank balance should have been 0. That's correct. But your cash balance should have also been 0. So
Yeah.
what does this tell us? What happened? What do we think happened to your account? Or what can we surmise happened?
Did it take Michael's cash flow?
Yeah, I was about to say, it looks like she took on my debt.
Yeah.
Thanks,
That was
Olivia.
really generous. I mean, that's the collaborative spirit we're trying to instill here. What's yours is mine. Yeah, it does appear that way. So it seems like there's something else in the system for the 12th for you that's radically throwing off our balance. So let's use our maintain tool to just take a deeper dive into your account and see what happened.
Should I search?
So let's go to maintain cash flow.
Here, there.
Oh,
Here, there.
yeah. I'm here. Yeah.
But let's go back to like the main screen where you can pick your template.
Okay.
Okay. And we really want to just do an ad hoc inquiry here. And that's a great use for the screen. So any of the ones that say maintain cash flows, those are typically just ad hoc, like change the parameters, check out the results. We don't know how this is set up. So we need to quickly go to our template and set it up to search for what went wrong for your account on the 12th.
Okay.
You want to try to do that real quick? Click the pencil button on the top right.
Hey, real quick, Kevin, can you go over ad hoc? Because I see that pretty often throughout Kyriba.
What does ad hoc mean?
Yeah.
Ad hoc, it's Latin, sorry. It just means like use it as like use it for one-time purpose, and that's it. It's just when necessary, I think is what it literally translates to. So if we have an ad hoc template, that means the settings are just used for a one-time search. They could be saved, and then you move on from that template. So if like Olivia just launched this template, it's not going to give us the results we need, right? We have to go in and modify the parameters. So it's looking specifically for her account, for the date in question, for the cash flows in question, etc.
Can I take these two guys out?
Take them out, yep, and add yours. I like to think of the problem solving the cache module as it's sort of like a treasure hunt, sort of like a mystery, right? You have the foundational knowledge to get to like where you think the root is, and then you need to understand, okay, this is the root cause. Okay, so what are we doing? We're searching for your account. What else do we need to narrow in on?
Oh, the date? No, wait,
Mhm.
no, I don't need to do that.
Yep.
You changed your account type. I don't know if that
Oh,
matters.
why'd it go? My account went away. Let's go. Oh,
Click all accounts.
I didn't
yeah.
mean to do that. Okay, there we go. Okay.
So when did things start to break for your account? What day?
On the 12th, I think it was.
Perfect. Exactly. Yep. So you can type start and end date. You can just type in 12. That's in 2020. So I recommend Control A. Control A to highlight everything, and then just type in 12. And then tab or, yep, same thing.
Should I do end date as the 12th?
You have
of-
to, yep. Otherwise, it'll say it's starting in 2022 and ending in 2021,
Okay.
and it will give you an error.
Okay.
You click off confirm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actuals.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't matter, right? Okay.
You could save this so you have it as search, then click go. Okay, so we have a bunch of activity in here, right, for the 12th. And this all came off your bank statement that we loaded for the 12th. So something went terribly wrong, right, with this data as compared to the others. And one thing jumps out at me right away, or maybe a couple things. Anything look kind of off? Kind of peculiar? There's one row here that is different from the others for a very specific reason.
Is it the fee?
That's not what I'm keying in on.
Um, I don't know.
Notice the third row, plus 495.
Mhm.
Firstly, there is no plus 495. 495 is always minus. Sorry that was in the database. But because it's a 400, it's in the 400s, BAI, that's always a minus. And
So
then
is that something I messed up during mapping then, or?
Very good. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
But for some reason, the system interpreted that as a credit, or we told it when it's a debit, actually counted as a credit.
Okay.
And then you can see the flow amount signed it as a negative. Flow amount is always absolute value. So the direction of a transaction is determined by the flow code. So if it's a wire out, like look at your 466s at the bottom. See how those are outbound flows, but the flow amount is still positive, right? Because the system knows the sign comes from the flow code plus or minus, and then the flow amount is absolute value. So what I think happened here is that the mapping was off, and then the system isn't able to produce your variance report correctly. We're off like 600K, right?
Yeah.
And the amount that's really problematic is that 652 up there. So let's just start over for your account right now. And this is actually a great demonstration on how we can just start from scratch. Rather than fixing all this data for the time being, let's just restart your balance. So we're going to go to add daily balance. And this is how you could say, all right, I just want to get a clean slate from a given day. So let's pick the 12th. Pick your account. If you don't pick your account first, I think the date defaults back. Let's see. Yeah, so see how it thinks your balance is negative 623?
Yeah.
What should our balance have been on the 12th?
0.
Exactly. So let's plug in new balance.
Oh.
Yep. And what's the system going to do? Remember, the system's a balance builder. So it's going to create a cash flow in the amount of 623,000,000 to offset the difference, right? To true us up to 0. So when you click, you can add a description here if you'd like. When you add this, we'll see a cash flow for that positive amount. You just
Okay.
call it whatever you want. And then that will allow us to be variance free. Okay, very good. So you should be all set. Let me take the screen back.
I think my screen might be frozen.
No, it's all good. I got it. Okay. So here's the latest variance report now. I just ran it. So here's your account, Olivia.
Okay.
And now you're showing 0 because we trued it up. Okay. So this was great. We saw how to add an account group. We saw the account group be an epic fail. So sorry about that. But nonetheless, we saw how to get around that issue. We ran a variance report once we initialized our balances manually. And then Olivia allowed us to use a different tool in the cash module, the add screen, to add a daily balance and have the system offset the difference between the current calculated and the correct calculated balance. So that was good. That was a good working session to kind of hammer down the concepts here. The next thing we're going to do is look at our cash position worksheets. Do you guys want to take a quick break and then we'll dive in there? You want to come back in 5? All right, very good.